Good evening, dear friends. This is the fourth video lecture on the Palynology series of lectures. Today I will talk about the NPC system of classification of pollen grains. This NPC system was proposed by Erdtman and Straka way back in 1961. This is basically based on three features, rather you can say NPC, they represent number, position and character of what? Of aperture. Number, position and character of aperture. On the basis of that, three digital values, numerical values will be given that will characterize a particular aperture of a particular spore or pollen grain. Let's see how this classification works. So here is the table for NPC system of classification. Here you can find there are three rows in this table. The first row represents the number, the second row represents the position, the third row represents the character. NPC, number, position and character. The number, there are 8 types of numerical values, N0 to N8, where N0 means there is no aperture at all, so it is also called odd trim. Trim means aperture, R means absent. N1 means there is a single aperture, also called monotrim. Similarly, N2 means two apertures, ditrim. N3 is tritrim. N4 is tetratrim. N5 is pentatrim. N6 is hexatrim. And after that, more than 6, if the number of apertures are more than 6, it is not heptatrim. It is rather, if it is more than 6, it is straightway, it is called polytrim, represented by N7. And when the numbers are uncountable, then it is called anomotrim, which is sometimes present in a spiral way. So it is also called gonimotrim. Anomotrim is also called gonimotrim. Now talking about the positions, there are 6 types of positions, P0 to P6. P0 is undefined, which is not possible when the position is not possible to determine. P1 is proximal in position, also called catatrim. Cata means proximal. Then P3 is opposite to that, that is anatrim, distal in position. And when both, when the apertures are present, both distal and proximal, which is a very rare case, but it is called anacatatrim, represented by P2. When it is present in an equatorial zone, it is called zonotrim, and when there are 2 rows of apertures on the equatorial zone, it is represented by P5. Zonotrim is represented by P4, and disonotrim, there are 2 rows of apertures in the equatorial region, that is represented by P5. Then this is the global distribution of apertures, where all along throughout the surface of the pollen grain or spore, it is represented by P6, also called pantotrim. So now we will talk about the character C. Our character is also of 6 types, C0 to C6. C0 here is undefined when you are not able to define the character. C1 is called the leptoma. Leptoma is a kind of aperture which is also undefined type of, unqualified type of aperture rather. So it is a thinner aperture where there is a thinner layer of exine present. So it is not a proper aperture. It is called leptoma. If it is present on the distal pole, it is called analept. And when it is present on the proximal pole, it is called catalept. And designated by C1 as far as its character C1, C value is concerned. Then C2 means it is a triradiate aperture. It may be trilate or it may be trichotomosulcate, represented by C2. C3 is a furrow-like aperture, may be single or more than one. So it may be monosulcate or it may be monolate or it may be tricolpate also. Colpus are also, colpi rather, are also furrow-like apertures. And then when it is pore, it is represented by C4. The porous aperture represented by C4. And when there is a ectoaperture is colpus and the endoaperture is porous, it is represented by C5. It is called colporate condition. And then when there is the ecto aperture is also a pore and the endo aperture is also a pore, it is called pore rate. So here, by these numerical values, you can define some of the type of apertures, not all. Definitely here, the syncolpate or syncolporate, parasyncolpate, etc., and other kind of lalongate, lolongate. There are different kinds of apertures. Those are not included in this NPC system. However, most of the families, most of the plants come under the umbrella of NPC system of classification. Now let's see some examples of that. So here are some, on the right hand column, you can see some NPC values. So only the NPC values will define the type or the character of a particular aperture. So if it is 0, 0, 0, that means there is no aperture at all. So N value is also 0, P value is also 0, C value is also 0. When it is 1, 1, 3, that means number is 1, position is 1, that means kata, and C means 3, C3, that means it is a furrow-like aperture. So single furrow-like aperture on the proximal position, what is that is called? That is called monotreme, monolith. So it is a monotreme and it is a lit mark. So it's monolith. It is found in polypodium. And 1, 1, 2, here proximal position is there, number is also 1, and 2 means C2 means it's a trilit, it's a triradiate aperture, and proximal in position, so it will be a trilit. So it is a trilit that is found in tetrahedral condition in Lycopodium, for example, or maybe in selaginella also. 1, 3, 3 means the number is 1. And position is 3 means it is ana in position, distal in position, and C3, there are 3 furrow-like apertures. C3 means furrow, single furrow. So there are three furrow-like apertures. No, number is 1. Single furrow-like aperture, number is 1, N is 1, 3, position is 3, distal in position, and character is C3, that means it is a furrow, single furrow-like aperture. So it is a monosulcate. Sulcus is present on the distal pole, and that is a single furrow-like aperture. So this is a case of Cycas or Pinus, where we find monosulcate condition. 3, 4, 3 is here 3 is the number is 3, that means there are 3 apertures. Position 4, that means it is a zonal, it is present in the zonal equatorial region, and then the C is 3 also, so it is a furrow-like aperture. So 3 furrow-like apertures in zonal equatorial region are colpus. They are colpi. So this will be a situation. So this is a situation which is called tricolpate. Now 3, 4, 3. Here 3 is there are 3 apertures. 4 means P4 means they are zonal in position, equatorial, and again C3 means it's a furrow-like aperture. So they are colpi. So colpi are present in the equatorial region, usually 3 in number. So this is a tricolpate situation, which is common in Saraca indica and Cassia tora kind of plants. Now 1, 3, 4, here number is 1, P3 means it is ana position, that means it is distal in position, and 4 means it is a pore. C4 means it's a porous aperture. So single porous aperture in distal region, monoporate condition found in poesy. So interesting, this only by 3 numerical values you can directly reach to the character of the aperture. So now C764. 7 means N7, that means it is a polytreme. There are the number of amaranthaceae. So last one, 3, 4, 5, that is the number is 3. The position is 4 means that is zonal, equatorial, and C5 means it is a colporate. So this is the situation which is called tricolporate, trizonocolporate rather. So this is found in Caesalpiniaceae family. So you can see how beautiful this classification is. Only by the 3 numerical values you can reach to the actual characteristic of the aperture or the pollen grain with respect to its aperture. So that's the beauty of this NPC system of classification. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if it is so, please press the like button. Subscribe the channel, also press the bell icon so that you can get the notifications at time, and keep enjoying. Thanks for watching.